All right. What's up? What's up? I think everything is live and we are all good. I guess I'll find out when I look at my other monitor and then it changes to my face officially. Well, our faces. Um, so, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the April VPSA Chat. My name is JP Davis. I am your host, the Vice President for Student Affairs, life member of the Zeta chapter at the University of South Carolina. Go Cox. And tonight I'm going to be joined by our student keynote speakers from our district convention season. We've got Haley with us right now, and we'll have Haley and then Audrey. And I've got a pre-recorded video with Nolan. He had a conflict tonight, but want to make sure he was still featured. And then Braxton and Jocelyn. I'm really excited to get this stuff going. So first up tonight is Haley. So hey Haley, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a long week already. Had a concert yesterday. I have another concert tomorrow and another concert on Sunday. But I like this tonight because it's a nice little way to break up the week from all that, professional music stuff or whatever.
Not real.
Yeah. Um, so we have of course met, but hopefully we're talking to a whole bunch of other people. And for brothers who might not know you yet, if you don't mind just introducing yourself.
Okay. Hi, my name is Haley Brookshire. I am part of the Zeta Kappa chapter here at East Texas A&M University, all the way in Commerce, Texas. I'm part of the Southwest District, Spicy Southwest. I play saxophone. I'm currently a sophomore music education major with a minor in corporate management, and I'm currently in the concert and jazz ensembles on campus.
That is so cool. In a crazy way, like as a band director, I feel like that corporate management minor will actually help a lot with band. So whenever you're not doing music stuff or not doing frat, how do you like to spend your free time?
Does free time exist as a
Allegedly, that's
music
what I
ed
hear.
major? Yeah. Okay, does free time that so exists. Typically actually love to like cook and bake. That's like one of my favorite things. Get me like in a kitchen and I'll make a mean batch of brownies. Like that's like one of my favorite things to do. And it's just a great way to like break up constantly being in the music realm.
I love that. And brownies are so good too.
They're so good.
They're so good. One of my students actually brought me brownies this morning, but I was very good and I didn't eat them yet because I want to have dinner first and then I'll have a brownie.
No, dessert always comes first.
Honestly, yeah. When you become old enough, it's like I'm just gonna eat the dessert, right? Um, so the for people who don't know, the Student Keynote Speakers series, what this was, it was started by our Founders Circle this year, and it's a way for us to feature active students and give them a platform to just share their story and like why they love Kappa Kappa Psi and what their journey's been like, and just share a message with the Brotherhood. And this is the inaugural year of us doing this, and so we were so grateful to have a bunch of students submit stuff, and we were able to get keynote speakers at just about every single convention, and Haley being one of those from yes the spicy Southwest District. Um, so, my first question for you is: when you first saw the opportunity to apply as a student keynote speaker, why do it at all?
Um, so I kind of like tossed up the idea about actually even applying because the application came out and we were preparing for Team EA, which is this big, if you don't know, this big like Texas convention. It's huge and preparing for it takes time and energy. So the application kind of felt like the entire week of Team EA and it was
Mm,
like due the Monday we got back. So I was like, I don't know. But when the initial post came out, there was a question that like stuck out to me and it was what small moment of joy help you feel like you belonged. It was kind of like one of those to help get your brain rocking and rolling. And I was like, I don't know, I was bored. And I was like, so I just started like typing some things down. And then eventually I had almost about 4 pages worth of stuff. And I was like, you know what? Might as well submit my name. If I get it, hey, that's great. If I don't, hey, sharing my story out to the world's always pretty cool. And so I applied.
yeah, I love that. And clearly, the small moment meant a lot to you. Um, so when you finally were selected, what did that mean to you?
I remember like getting the email and I was with one of my friends and I totally like screamed and she was driving, which probably wasn't the best thing to do. Scream in the middle of driving, but like I guess I felt seen because being from Commerce, Texas, we're not the biggest school ever, but it was just like, oh, the big Kappa Kappa Psi sees me. That's what we call it, even though like they're in Oklahoma and that's like a state away. But
Right.
they're like a big Kappa Kappa sign our hearts. And I just remember being like, I was like super happy. And I was like, I immediately told my chapter, and then I read the bottom of the email and it said, please keep this confidential for a couple of days. And I was just like, and
Oopsies.
so I
Uh-oh.
immediately, oh, hold on, big, big lion safe's calling. My bad. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, no, sorry, that was our like safety people calling. There's no time, but they were. I got the like I read the bottom. It's highlighted yellow bold text. Don't tell anyone. And I'm just like, oh no. I was like 2 seconds in, and I already messed a big Capcom site. So I'm like immediately sending messages. I'm like, you cannot tell a single soul you saw this. You better keep it away from your grandmothers, please.
Not the grandmas.
Yeah, and but it was just like it was a huge moment for me. I was very like happy, I guess.
Good. I really appreciate you saying that, and I think it's funny that you call it Big Kappa Kappa Psi. You know, some people are like, oh, nationals and stuff, and um, yeah, I'm glad that we can bring that to you. So what was your keynote about? I mean, I was there, I know, but for the people who weren't there and don't know, what was your keynote about?
So I like have my keynote printed out next to me because I read it before this, just to, like get my brain refreshed. Really, it kind of just takes, I guess, the listener, I'd call it, on a journey, kind of like throughout my life, throughout like my hearing disabilities, and like how my audition day went, and how like Kappa Psi was slowly like implemented in my life, and then I talk about like my journey throughout the process, and then the turning point I had when I lost brother and someone in my class to a car accident in Kappa Kappa Psi, and how that like shook my world. And then talked about like how I found that like I found in that loss my sense of belonging, and how the hymn like impacted me, and then how like I related this back to like a house analogy, how like home like a house is just a house, but people are what the home is. And so like throughout the speech, it like has little analogies thrown towards it, and then I wrap it all up with talking about how a house is just a structure, but a home is the people that are there for you, and how being a brother is connected like throughout the world, and how there will always be someone there for you. And yeah,
Yeah, I'm getting
it's a
like,
very vulnerable talk.
yeah, vulnerable is a word for it. I'm like getting flashbacks to sitting in that room in the morning, and then I'm like, why are we all crying this early in the morning? Thanks. But
Yeah,
no, I mean, it was just fantastic.
thank you.
So, what did it feel like to be standing in front of the Southwest District sharing that, especially like as a sophomore?
Yeah. So like when I attended for first Southwest, which was last year, I think I was very because it was like a week after we were initiated, and I was like very at awe at everything, and so like now going into it after going to NatCon in the summer, I kind of like had this fresh set of eyes, and then when I got in like the room, and Chris and Adam were like, "You're gonna be standing on this stage, and you're gonna be talking, and look at all these chairs, they're gonna be full," and I'm like, that's a lot of shit. And so I was very like nervous because I hadn't done much public speaking since like high school. So I was just like, you're telling me I gotta go speak and share all my vulnerable stuff. But even though I submitted it and I was like, fine, you mean I actually have to tell people this? And I actually have to stand on stage where these chairs are about full. and like my chapter's there and everything, and I have to share this story. It was very like I was very like nervous, but then and like the day of I was like so nervous. Like morning of I was like freaking out a little bit, just very nervous. And it wasn't until like I think I was saying like I started speaking it, my nerves kind of just relaxed because I was like my in my brain it kind of went, well, maybe this story impacted you. It might impact somebody else, and it did.
Yeah.
The mixture between crying and clapping was something I did not expect. And it was like I felt like I was very like on like I felt so like honored that I inspired people and like people like shared their story because throughout my speech I purposely chose to not give I only included someone's name if it like they are like the purpose of this story and the huge turning points because I wanted the listener to be able to like always picture themselves
Mm.
in my story, like trying to relate to it, not trying to associate the names with oh this person did this and this person did this. I purposely were like no names. That way the reader slash listener could like plug themselves into the story, and I guess they did. They liked it.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, so intentional about the choices that you made in this. Did you do like any like creative like writing classes or anything, or you just enjoyed like writing, or just like this is the vibe?
No, I never did anything creative writing or anything. My point with writing is I want people to feel, and it's like when I make music, it's like I want people to feel an emotional connection to it, and I want them to be able to close their eyes and put themselves like as they're like what Chris said, a fly on the wall, and be able to just picture themselves in whatever I'm writing. And so that's always been my goal. My directors say I have a way with words.
They're
I
right.
guess I do. I just I was like I guess I do, but no, I didn't do it. No preparation classes, no creative writing classes. That's just how I write.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was just incredible the whole thing, and I love just hearing that process about how you're like actually choosing to write the stuff. I think that in itself is inspirational, and it just takes the story to just another unbelievable level.
Thank you.
Um, so is there anything that you feel like you learned about yourself, especially not having done public speaking really since high school? Do you feel like you've changed a whole bunch from the experience?
Yes. I guess the little top secret thing I'm currently working on a team EA proposal
Ooh.
to submit for talking about disabilities in music because there was no presentations on it this year, and I
Mm.
feel like it's something that is not commonly talked about as someone who has it. And so I've definitely it inspired me to do more public speaking because people I guess they enjoy with what I have to say, so why should I be afraid to say it? That so I'm like I'm very inspired. I've done more like and reached out I guess and done more stuff now with public speaking from it. It just inspired me I guess.
I love to hear that. That's so cool. And Team EA, I mean, that's the big leagues. But I
It's
could
the
definitely
super
see you
league.
doing that. And then, I mean, it's a slippery slope. You're presenting at Team EA one day, and then the next day you're presenting at Midwest, and yeah, I
That's
see it in your future. I believe it. That's so cool.
uh, thank you.
Um, So, this being the first year of us having active students being keynote speakers, what does it like mean to you to know that student voices were featured this way?
Oh, well, first, I feel very honored that I was picked to be the first one. I don't know if that's like if I'm gonna be, I would set this a standard of any way, shape, or form. I didn't like in any of us that shared our stories. I guess it's very honored to be like we set, I guess, the foundation to hopefully a future of it. And I personally like I love hearing like the I don't want to say older people. None of y'all are old, I
No,
promise.
I
But
feel it on my back. I feel it.
I was like, sometimes the rain may make you feel it, but um, like no one's old, but
I'm gonna text the National
sometimes
Council and say that you called them old on the live stream.
oh, please no. But like no, like hearing the national council and the founder speakers and all that speak is great, but sometimes hearing someone that's closer to their age and like going through school while they're going through school essentially for our active people or recently alumni or even life members remembering when they were active, them being able to be like, this person's currently going through, not going through exactly what I'm going through, but they're currently a student as well. And they share their voice, and maybe that inspires for next, like, if this is done, hopefully for next
It
year,
better be.
this, yeah, I know, right? I'll have words otherwise, but no, this inspires like the next group of people to share their stories, because after after the Southwest, people came up to me and like my keynote, and they were sharing their stories. I'm like, well, go share your stories, and hopefully this is like this a platform where people can go share their stories, from all walks of life essentially. And so brothers are like, hey, I'm not alone. And this really just makes us feel to where we're not alone going through this. There's someone our age or close to our age going through the same or similar things. It's just, I see it as being very inspirational.
Yeah, and connecting is another word that comes to my mind from what you're saying, and I
It's
absolutely agree. And I love that there are not old people, sharing these
not
things.
old, I
Um,
promise.
so there were some people that talked to you about about kind of what their experience has been like. If somebody's like on the fence, thinking, should I go out for this? Should I not? Like, what would you say to them?
I would say kind of what I was thinking when I did go out for this. Just do it. The worst thing that could happen is they say you are not selected this year, but you shared your story with someone. The people that had to view all these submissions, you shared your story with them. And it's a huge step alone, taking that courage, especially for like mine, who is more like it was like, yay, Kappa Kappa Psi, rah, rah, rah. And then it was like, oh, wait a minute, and then it got very vulnerable, but then it kind of like got a little bit back to the more rah-rah Kappa Kappa Psi. And just sharing your vulnerabilities alone is a huge step. And so when in doubt, you're sharing it for somebody, even if you don't get the big speaking in front of a bunch of people, which is scary, by the way. um just go for it, because the worst thing that can happen is they can say no, but you can't be accepted if you don't apply.
Yeah, that's so true. I wanted to say, and that's on period because I believe.
You know what? That's on period.
So wonderful. Um, so my last question for us, and then I'm already running behind as I knew that I would. Um, it's our month of brotherhood, and I would love to hear a brotherhood moment that you've had where you felt like um the brotherhood, the joy of Kappa Kappa Psi was something that you were truly a part of.
Oh, okay. Okay. Can I pick one that I used in my speech, or are we trying to like come up with a new one?
I feel like we got your speech one, so maybe a new one.
Oh, I talked about a lot of I hit a lot of little ones in my speech. Oh, that's brother. I feel like I can never think of, I guess, one moment that for me at least is like that meaningful brotherhood moment. For me, it's always the little moments. So like the biggest thing is, I guess, right after I'm Southwest and stuff, like right after my speech, I was like, I'm gonna stay so strong. I'm gonna stay so strong. I told myself, I'm not gonna cry, because I was like, I'm not gonna cry. I'm gonna get through these words. And then like right after I stepped on stage and I took, because I knew if I looked at my chapter during the speech, I was like, I'm gonna cry, because I knew that it could get emotional based off of when I read it to Adam and Chris and they got emotional, and I was like, okay, these people lived it through with me. They're gonna get emotional.
Hmm.
And so I was like, I'm not. So like like I glanced over once, and like their face red. And I was like, okay, I can't look at them again. I gotta stay so strong. And then I remember just stepping off the stage and falling apart. And and I was like I was just crying because it was like, yes, everything I talked about was very heavy with emotions and grief, but it was just they were there, and I was so happy that they got to hear it, and they felt impacted by something I said,
Mm.
and it was just we all were like crying, like hugging. And my big was like, "That's my little," and I was like, "No," and like, cause I got like, I was embarrassed to do this as is because every time like I get awards and stuff, I just get embarrassed because I'm like, don't
Right.
feature me. I'm like, let me be the fly on the wall, let me be behind the scenes. But then it was just like very heartwarming for me, I guess is the word. And it was like because like everyone was like together and like even like after at Southwest and stuff, it was like there was like a I guess a shift to change. I don't like in our brotherhood because we felt okay like because when everything first happened last semester it was hard and like we even talked about afterwards it's like they said like when we mentioned his name we're like we're probably always going to cry because it's an emotional topic for us but we our brotherhood was like that much more connected on another level even though we might shed a few tears.
Yeah. Absolutely. I really appreciate you. I mean, sharing that story and sharing that moment too. Um, I mean, I just the words are escaping me. It's just such a tough spot to be in, and um, it's one of those things like you don't move on from it, right? Like you move
No.
forward and you
Yeah.
grow and you become, you know, stronger people, stronger brothers, and it's something that's definitely clear with you and clear with your chapter. So, wonderful.
Yes. I know it's like I'm like getting everyone I don't want to get people too emotional. There's still other keynote speakers to talk about. So it's like putting me first. I was just like, this is I don't want to make these people too emotional.
Yeah, my bad. That was my choice.
You went, let's make you first.
Yeah,
And I
that's right.
was like, oh,
Let's
but
drop the
mine's like very
emotional bombs
vulnerable.
now. Yeah.
Oh, ready for truth bombs? Boom.
Great. Well, Haley, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you being here.
Of
Um,
course.
and yeah, I look forward to seeing how you grow and how this stuff keeps going on in the future. And this definitely will happen because we know you have a way with words, and we only want good words from Haley.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thanks so much. You have a great night.
Of course, you as well.
So long.
Bye bye.
And then, look, same. Um, boom. Okay. Great. So that was. Uh-oh. I like removed her so that way she would get out, but now it's asking me to report her. Haley, I'm not going to report you. I don't know why it's saying that. I'm gonna click don't report. My bad. All right. So that was Haley from Zeta Kappa Southwest, and now we've got Audrey coming in from Auburn University in the Southeast District, War Eagle for all those peeps, and here she is. And now, please, thank you. Yeah, there you go. What's up, Audrey? How
Hello.
are you?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Love your setup. Thousand
Thank you
out of
so
10.
much. I turned it on and I was like, I look like I'm like legit sitting in a dungeon. So I needed something to like make this a little bit
Yeah,
better.
the lights are perfect.
Thank you.
Great.
Well, and I also tried to get a fun like Auburn background. Can I just show you how awful?
Please.
Hold up. This stuff was not made for curly hair.
It, it's like that first one reminds me of like a signing day thing.
I know. I'm entering the transfer portal. Like that's what's giving. So
That's awesome.
we get full background right now.
Man, so I think that just means you need like a picture of like the Auburn marching band behind you, like on your
Oh,
wall
so
that you can just
true.
put there.
I do have an image on my wall. It's just on the other
Yeah, I
wall.
mean, not everybody can do this, but you know.
Yeah.
Actually, one of my favorite away games that I went to was at Auburn. And sorry for people in the chat, we are just completely sidetracked already. But one of my favorite away games was Auburn. I really loved the stadium. I feel like the people there were just so nice, and I would go there again. It was a great place to be.
Yeah. I have yet to go to South Carolina, but
It's amazing.
it's on my list.
You should do it. It's
I
it's
should.
an
If we
unreal
ever play you
experience.
guys ever again.
Yeah, yeah. I
It's
mean
okay.
the
I'll come
SEC
on my own
schedule,
time.
it's weird, but it just means more, is what they say.
Mm.
So, all right. Well, clearly Audrey and I know each other as a former Southeast District governor. But for Audrey, for people who might not know you, who are tuning in, do you mind just introducing yourself and you know telling about you?
Yeah, so hi everyone. I'm Audrey. I hail from Auburn University. We're the Pi chapter here. I'm currently a junior studying speech language and hearing sciences, which is a really long name to say I'm gonna go teach y'all's grandmoms and granddaddies how to talk again. And basically, my entire life goal is leading up to that. If I'm not doing music or that, I am probably asleep. So that is my entire life.
I love that. So, if that's your entire life, like, do you have any free time? Do you do anything besides music and teaching my grandparents how to speak?
I like to read. I love to read. My line name is Library with the Y being a sigh, and it's because I have a home library of like 250 books.
Wow.
Um, so I was listening to an audiobook and awaiting this. Um,
Nice. So, what are you reading slash listening to right now?
um, so Nia Sue's Bottom of the Pyramid, where she's talking about her time on Dance Moms.
All right. Love that. I've seen uh uh, like maybe a season and a half of Dance Moms, and there are times where it's like, okay, I get it. I understand why she's like this way. And then there are other times where I'm like, these ladies are crazy. But
Yeah, it's a really good like back and forth of like who do I side with. Um, I like really enjoyed watching it growing up because I was like the same age as these people going along and I
oh
was
wow.
like, yeah, you know, dancing. I was never a dancer.
Right.
Even like the marching band, like what are they like visuals? I was never really good at, but I live vicariously
That's
through my little
amazing.
TV shows. So I
Uh,
guess there you go. I watch Dance Moms in my free time and I listen to books about
about
Dance
Dance
Moms
Moms.
in my free time. And I
That's
love Star Wars. There's that. I over 100 books of Star Wars, so
I didn't know they made that many, but I mean, me, fake fan, Star Wars for sure.
yeah.
I will own
Yeah.
that. Lovely. So, I mean, let's talk about the keynote some.
Yeah.
So,
Coolest part of my life.
when you saw that there was going to be a keynote thing going on at this district convention cycle, what made you want to go for it?
So I didn't actually see it because I'm not on Facebook that
Mm,
much, really, truly. I got
same.
sent it by the alumni who is referenced in said keynote. Her name's Brittany. She's an alumni of the Pi chapter, and she was like, I think that you'd be great for this. And I was like, oh, me? And she was like, yeah, like you've got such a cool story to tell. And I didn't really believe her. So it actually sat on the back burner for a really long time. And I think the moment that I finally was like, oh, well, maybe I should. And I think I got it in my head that maybe my story was cool enough. Maybe. I don't know. And so I just kind of put it out there, just testing the waters to see if anyone else thought it was cool.
It was. I'll tell you that.
Yay.
We can talk more about that later. What did it mean to be selected when you like got to the bottom of the email and it's like, hey, congrats.
Um, I'll actually tell a story of how I found out. So I was on spring break and I was sitting at this big table of like me and my entire friend group. We're in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, this really nice place. And I don't know why I was on my phone. I should have like put the phone down and hung out with everybody. But most of the people who were there are also in the chapter. And so, we're just went around on our food, and so I'm like, oh, let me just open up my email, little email warrior, right? And that was probably the loudest I've ever gasped. The gasp I gasped was so loud. And I didn't read the part of the email that was like, don't tell anybody.
Oh no.
So the whole table knew. I'm really sorry, Bong.
I think maybe he needs to put it at a different part of the email because you're not the only
That
person to
needed to
say
be
that.
like at the top.
Right.
Because I opened it on my phone, so it was like way, way, way down. But I was like, shh, guys, like we can't tell anybody. But it meant a lot because he said something in the email about like the vulnerability of telling that, and I didn't really think too much about the vulnerability of it honestly when I was telling it until I really started to reflect on like, oh, like this isn't really a story I tell people. It wasn't a story like I told my chapter or anything, and I don't know, it kind of felt like nice to be seen and heard and validated that my story meant something. Not that the other stories probably didn't mean that, but that mine wasn't just like everybody goes through that sort of deal. And that I felt accomplished and that I was able to tell the story that I was wanting to tell in a concise manner that made sense to be a keynote.
Yeah, 100%. And um, that like feeling of being seen, especially like hearing you say like, I didn't know if my story was kind of worth telling, and Brittany saying, "Hey, like I feel like you have something to share." It definitely makes sense that you were feeling that way. So I was there. I saw your keynote, and I know what it's about. But for people who weren't there, what was it about?
Basically, for those of you who don't know, it was about basically the power of being appreciated. We were kind of following this brotherhood theme. And when I sat down, I was like, ooh, what do I want to talk about? My all of my Kappa Kappa Psi experiences inherently have brotherhood. That's kind of the point. I started to think about why my experience with brotherhood was a little bit different, and so I talked about how I grew up a military kid. I grew up moving around, having the revolving door of people in and out of my life all at the time, being the person going in and out of that revolving door, and how yeah, you form connections with people and you form connections with people throughout your entire life. That's the point. You're forming connections, but it is different whenever the brotherhood actually appreciates you for who you are, and who you are isn't actually your accomplishments, which is something I struggle with a lot internally.
Mm,
It's actually all just from the title of brother. The title brother carries a lot more weight than just, oh, well, that's my friend or that's my acquaintance, that's my classmate, that's my president. None of the things that have come from the greatness of Kappa Kappa Psi for me have come because of any title I held. It was all because of just being brother.
yeah. I mean, it's deep. It's kind of like the SEC, like it just means more.
It does. It just means more to be a brother than just, oh, I'm someone's friend. Like, you don't really get to leave the brotherhood just because, oh, I was having a bad day. Maybe you did. But most people stay within this brotherhood sometimes for their like entire lives. And it was really important to me too that like someone reached out to me and said, I appreciate you and your story, even though I was never in the chapter with you. I've only ever met you in person once. And I think that you have a story that's worth telling. So I kind of talked a little bit about how I even got there. That was part of the story.
Yeah. Um, and I mean, being in that room, like I don't know if I told you this, but it was like from the very first sentence that you said, like you just were able to capture the room in such a like fantastic way. I mean, like the Southeast, we are definitely we can be like a little chaotic and like unfocused at times, but I mean, I've never heard the room be so quiet and attentive, unless we were in ritual as they were listening to your speech. It was so good, so good.
Thank you.
Um, what did it feel like to stand in front of the Southeast District and share this story?
I'm gonna be real. I don't remember. I have no recollection of giving that speech. I've watched the video back
Hmm.
And there's like some slight moments where I can like I remember scanning the room and I specifically told the pie chapter that they had to sit kind of in the middle in my line of sight just in case I got up there and froze. So that way I could lock in. Because I talk to the pie chapter all the time.
Right.
And I was, scanning doing my thing and I started to get a little nervous. I think it kind of hit me that the room was so silent.
Hmm.
And I never heard it be that silent or didn't hear it be that silent, I suppose.
Right.
And I was scanning, I saw Brittany and I was like, "Ooh, girl, we cannot be looking there right now." Because like this year started, I was like, cannot. So I had to pick a different corner of the room. So shout out to whoever's chapter got like the most Audrey eye contact. It was not my own. Because I started getting a little emo, I can't lie. Um, but at the end, it all like rushed back in. Like I kind of felt like I was like coming back. I was like resurfacing out of the water. It was when everyone started like, "Woo! Yay!" And it was like, "Oh, wow, me? I did that. That was so cool." And I remember like so many people came up to me afterward and were like, "That was so moving, that was so powerful," which I was hoping that it would be because whenever you are a military kid, your experience really only aligns with a very select group of people. And sometimes those people aren't other military kids. Like, there are
Mm.
plenty of military kids who never had to move. There are plenty of military kids who are from different branches who never went overseas. Like, my experiences really truly are my own, and so in order for other people to find themselves in that story, um kind of made me cry. I can't lie, it made me like really reflective on the power of storytelling, which is something I think about a lot outside of keynote speeches. So
Yeah.
powerful for me, very moving for me. I'm glad it was powerful and moving for other people.
Yeah, it sure was. Were there other like military kids that came up to you, kind of like, hey, like twins?
No, not that I remember. I think a couple people might have said something about it. The room was really loud, and so a lot of the times I was just like, "Oh, thank you, thank you, thank
Yeah.
you." Maybe one. I think maybe one person came up to me, maybe not directly after, but they were like, "Oh yeah, like I grew up Army," and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." I was an Air Force kid, like, and then it's like, okay, like we already have like the weird division of like you had the better bases.
Right.
You might not have gone overseas, and it's just different. Um, and I think too in the Southeast, it's just not as common to be military. Like if you were
Mm.
from the Northeast and you were around like DC, the chances kind of go up a little bit.
Yeah.
We don't have any like massive huge bases down here unless you're from Florida,
Right.
from like the Panhandle where there's like five in a row. In that case, there's a lot, but otherwise, they're kind of few and far between. I didn't really grow up around a whole lot of military kids whenever I wasn't on base.
Yeah. That makes sense. Um, so did you give or like are you used to kind of public speaking and like standing in front of a bunch of people and saying stuff, or was this kind of one of the bigger moments for you?
Um, so I currently serve as the Pi chapter president, which means I have to speak in front of like 50 or so people for chapter, which is different because I see these people almost every day.
Right.
Um, and I'm never having to like spill my guts to the Pi chapter. It's like, okay, guys, next officer report. Um, Maybe I'll give a presentation every now and then, but for my classes thus far, I have yet to give a presentation for my major.
Hmm.
Um,
And don't you
I've done
graduate
so for
soon?
I know, I've graduated in the fall and I've never given a presentation in major.
Weird.
Um, Shortly after my keynote speech, I did for like research purposes, but those are like different.
Mm-hmm.
I've never like gone up on stage and like spilled my guts to a group of people. I was never like valedictorian, speech giver. I think I did. No, I definitely did. Public speaking online at community college, like dual enrolled. So I never really got
Okay.
like public speaking experience. I just know I was never really like I was freaked out like 5 minutes before. I was like, I'm going up in front of the SCT. But like leading up to that, I was like, I'm speaking. And I think it's because I'm such an open book, just like one-on-one, and I love to meet people, but I don't know. I wasn't really like prepped. I think I would have liked a little bit more preparation.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's funny, like I remember right before you went on, Bong was like, "Hey, do you want to wear your lanyard or not?" And you were like, "What? Should I? Should I?" And he was like, "If it's part of your outfit, I guess you can." And you're like, "I don't think I'm going to." And then you take it off. Um, and I don't know if you remember that moment at all, but I was sitting right behind
I
you, and I was like,
do.
"That's great." Um,
I freaked. I can't lie. Well, because I was like, I didn't know if he was like subtly trying to tell me something like I should be
I
taking it
felt the
off.
same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Bong has this way of like psychologically torturing people. Just like, hey, I'm gonna subtly hit this thing, and you'll never know what it really means.
No.
Yeah.
I found myself second guessing a lot of my interactions surrounding my keynote speech because I knew that it didn't really align with other people like in their childhood experiences. So I was like, I always kind of wondered like what part of it actually landed with them. At what point in my story was this like, oh yeah, me too? Because it definitely could not have been the first part. And
Right.
like part of it was also about like me going to NatCon for the first time. I was like, how many of you guys are like reminiscing right now? Um, but I was always really curious
Yeah.
about that.
I mean, for me, like, I'm not a military kid. The part that really resonated with me and still resonates with me is, um, like band is a place where people of all different sorts of backgrounds, upbringings, ethnicities, cultures, religions, whatever, can come together and really contribute to something like way larger than themselves. And Kappa Kappa Psi is something that embraces that and loves that and supports that. I mean, we say, music is a universal language and truly the greatest of the arts. And for me, like, that's why I believe that, because of all these people can come together and can call each other brother and feel accepted and appreciated, because it's like, hey, you're here, and even though I might not know you, I know some stuff that you've been through, and I know what we're all working towards, and that's enough.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is that it is enough. Like, there are people who will go through their entire Kappa Kappa Psi experience never holding a title other than brother and never like having a podium article published or getting on like the national Instagram, maybe never serving as delegate, whatever it is that like they define as like success.
Hmm.
But that doesn't actually change anything that the fraternity can offer them. Which was like, I don't know. I think it really hit me at NatCon because I wasn't president at that point. All I was I was like our 5K chair. I did one event and I was like, wow, like all of these people from like literally every corner of the country are coming together right now in Kentucky, of all places, and we're all holding the same values and like the way that we treat each other, the way that we talk to each other. It does feel like a family reunion because we all went through the same degrees. We all went through the same ceremonies. We heard the arts arguing and we still chose music at the end of the day. And I think that that kind of raises it like to a different level of like I love the Auburn University marching band and every single one of them, but my brothers are just another level. Like we all went through the same stuff.
Hmm.
We marched the same shows and everything. We played in the same ensembles, but you're here because we went through all of that together. And there's a lot of like togetherness aspect that and that like it doesn't leave over the summer because I'm not around you, or it doesn't leave in the spring semester because I'm not marching next to you. And it's not like, oh, I have like crazy amounts of fun with these people, like in every single situation we're in, but we do get to come together. And I think that that is something special.
Yeah, 100% totally agree. Um, so just my last couple questions, and then we can end our yap session. This is the first year that active students were featured as like a student keynote speaker at our district conventions. We've had the student keynote speaker at national, and I love that it's been brought to the district level. What does it mean to you that student voices are being featured this way?
So, as a student, seeing someone my age talking about their experiences, knowing that it aligns more closely with what I would have gone through means something. I I kind of feel like my life is like pre-pandemic, post-pandemic. And when I hear pre-pandemic brothers talking about their experiences, I just think, wow, like it was just different. Not different bad,
It's different.
just different. Or, you know, you would have gone through and like maybe I wasn't even alive yet, or you're far, not far removed, but whenever you are currently in the active brotherhood, you see what the brotherhood currently is and where it's going. Like I always say, like the youth is like the future. So
Hmm.
these are the people who are propelling us forward. And I'm not necessarily saying that people started to rally behind me or that I was their like newfound leader, but I would hope that being able to see someone their age get up there would inspire them and motivate them in the same way that a leader would to then share their stories. I hope that at the end of the day, I had a call to action where I was like, go out and show appreciation to a brother. It doesn't have to be like a speech or anything, you know, wave, say hi, make someone feel seen because that is how you nourish each other. That was my end statement of
Hmm.
the keynote. I've done Spark Noted the whole thing. You don't even have to go watch it now. Um, and I was just hoping that what people would take away from that was that, oh, if she can do it, I can do it too. I was hoping that they would just take one little snippet and whatever stuck with them is what went. And I think that people are more likely to listen to people their age, and listen to people that they know are like currently going through all of the same things. And I hope that at least one person in that crowd thought, I can do that too. And that now they feel empowered to share their story, either with their friends, with their brothers, with their chapter, or at, you know, the district level next year.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. And I mean, seeing the crowd, I know that there's going to be a lot of people who are wanting to share their story next year. Oh, thanks so much for doing that and being voluntold by Brittany. Yeah.
It was definitely not a voluntold. It was just a volun, very partially like you should do this.
Yeah.
But really, truly, it is because she believed in me. So I always say that all of the thanks goes to Brittany Woodruff.
Yeah,
So
she
if
really
y'all
is
ever see
just
her,
amazing. Yeah, I saw her on Sunday actually. Yeah,
wait, I saw her like Friday.
that's
That's
crazy.
awesome. Yeah.
Uh, so to end out, this is our month of brotherhood, and a thing that I'm asking everybody is to share a brotherhood moment, a moment where they felt truly connected to Kappa Kappa Psi and everybody around them. And I wonder if you got one to share.
I do. It is actually from SEDC, so it's very on brand. This past SEDC, like the one we were just at, I got to go to my first ever step show. I had never been to a probate show or a step show, exhibition, or anything. And just seeing everybody rally around, I mean, whether or not you went to an HBCU, whether or not your chapter does step in like we were jaws on the floor, okay? And like seeing the excitement and feeling all of that was just so special because when you're in the SED, you know Auburn's a PWI that like there are just some things that you just never get to see.
Hmm.
And that started opening up a lot of conversations with the Pi chapter between us, Zeta Chi, that's Tuskegee down the road. It opened up so many avenues between us, like Alabama State, Miles College. We started getting invited to things, and that was when I started like seeing not walls, but kind of like barriers that we previously kind of thought were there kind of start to come down because we all got to come together and like be excited about this one thing. And that one thing at that moment was the step show because that was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
But the other things that we get to come and rally around are service. It's service towards our bands, it's music, it's leadership, it's brotherhood. It is our pillars that we get to come and rally around. And that's what like kind of made it really true for me was then and there. I was like, wow, I could never see these people ever again, but they have imprinted something on my heart. And by me being here, I know that it helps support them and it is imprinting on their heart. Like, I hope that other people felt that way. I don't know. Maybe the step shows are not as big of a deal to the
No, they're
schools that do
incredible.
them, but I thought that was freaking awesome.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, very cool. Well, Audrey, I really appreciate you being here and hanging out. Always a pleasure to talk, and we could definitely talk all night, I'm sure. Uh,
It would happen.
yeah. I haven't even said anything about your My Chemical Romance shirt. I do love it.
Thank you so much for noticing.
Of course, I noticed it immediately, but I was like, I have to stay on top. I have to stay on topic. So,
Oh, yeah. Good thing you didn't mention it. It would have been another rant.
yeah. So, yeah, thanks so much, and I hope you have a great night. And
Thank
yeah, we'll
you.
be in touch. War Eagle,
War Eagle, go
go
Cox.
Cox. See
All
ya.
right. Have a good one.
All right. So that was Audrey from Pi from Auburn University, and I'm gonna call an audible. I was going to have like a little mini break for myself, but I'm feeling like powering through. So we're gonna keep going with Braxton from Midwest, and then we'll have Jocelyn from um, why am I blanking? Wow, that's so embarrassing. We'll have Jocelyn from NED. I'm so sorry about that. I just kind of glitched for a second. And then after that, we'll have Nolan's video that we pre-recorded the other day. Please definitely stick around for that. Nolan is fantastic. He's got so much great energy. I need to figure out how to get him on down to South Carolina to talk with my kids. So here is Braxton. I'm going to let him in now. I don't know if he's ready, but here we go. As soon as it... There it is. That was fast. What's up?
Hey JJ,
I like your background. Look at
thanks. I
us.
saw you had it, so I had to get mine. Oh,
Look.
it's inverted.
It's great. On my thing, it says K State the right way. So
Okay, good.
yeah.
That's good.
Wow, it's so good to see you, man.
Great to see you too. It hasn't been that long.
Yeah, like what, 2 weeks or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you
Yeah.
fully recovered from your convention?
I have. I got some good sleep afterwards with the long drive back home to Kansas, but the experiences are still with me, so I've fully recovered.
Good, lovely. Man, like everybody that I talked to, I was like, "Hey, how long was your drive?" Everyone's like, "Oh, it was like 8.5 hours for me to get here." I'm like, "That's insane." I like
Yeah.
me, I would. That's something I'd be like, 8.5 hours is a long drive. I would love to do it. I'm gonna stay here and practice.
Absolutely. And I had done that drive not that long ago because I went to go visit our brothers at Alpha Nu in Wyoming, and that same 8.5 hour drive. So I had prepared for that, but it does a lot of wear and tear.
Yeah, you gotta like do your stretches. You gotta make sure you
Yeah,
got your lumbar support going on, your playlist, podcasts, whatever. So,
exactly.
did you ride alone or did you have like a car full of people?
Yeah, so we took four carpools up there, and so I had a carpool of two other people to ride along with. And our driver had an incredible music taste, so I had no issue, and he let me have the music on the part of the way back, and so I was having a vibe. I had a book with me. I was reading the new Hunger Games book, and so I got
Okay.
into that. And so it was a good ride. And honestly, on the way there, I was napping hard. I probably
Hmm.
slept for 4 hours, and so it was super easy on the way there. And on the way back, just seemed so quick, and so it was a good trip.
That's lovely. Yeah, I'm a terrible passenger. So
Yeah,
like if I'm ever road tripping with somebody, I'm like, hey, just so you know, I'm gonna fall asleep real soon. I think my mom actually used to do the thing where she would put me on the dryer and so that it would like rock me to sleep or whatever. I
yeah,
know for a fact my mom is not watching this, so I'm free to say that.
good.
So, yeah, well, so Braxton, for people who don't know you, who are you? Introduce yourself and, major, school, all that jazz.
Yeah, so my name is Braxton Robertson. I am a master's student at Kansas State University. I received my undergraduate degrees here in biochemistry and microbiology. And then I am currently working on my master's in biochemistry as well. I conduct my research at USDA and adjunctly with KSU. And so yeah, I march cymbals in the marching band. I play the flute as a secondary for a university band. I've done that for 3 years now. But yeah, I'm the president of the or outgoing president now of the Epsilon Pi chapter, where I served as president for the past 2 years there.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah,
So, did you play flute before going to K-State, or you just like picked it up?
picked it up. I played trumpet for 1 week before I switched to percussion in 5th grade.
All
And
right.
then I was percussion through all my life. And then when I was needing to fill an ensemble for my ensemble requirement, I chose university band. And university band is an ensemble for us where we learn like secondary instruments. And I emailed the person who's running that, and I said, what do you need? And he goes, percussion, trumpet, and flute. And I was like, well, I've played trumpet for 1 week, wasn't the biggest fan. Was percussion for the rest of my life, you know. And then I was like, I'll pick up the flute. And so I instantly fell in love with the flute, even though it's a complete 180 from percussion.
Uh-huh.
It was a weird transition of going from no air to all air. And yeah. And so I decided again, like the second and third year, that I would continue with the flute. Even though most people don't continue with the same instrument the same year for university band, but I love it so much. I bought my own flute, so I continue to plan on playing it.
That's amazing. Very
Yeah.
cool. You might be the first percussionist I've ever heard they love that transition.
Yeah. Right.
That's cool. So outside of class and your master's degree in frat, do you do anything in your free time?
When I have free time, yes. I'm not much of a gamer, but I do like playing games. I recently got into Baldur's Gate, which is like an
Mm,
D&D game, which I didn't know if I was going to get into, but I really did.
it's so good and so
Yeah.
accessible too.
Yep. I'm on my second run through where I'm doing a Dark Urge run through. So,
Nice.
yeah. Um, I like going on walks and doing small hikes. We have a preservation out here, which is the Konza Prairie, and it's so gorgeous out there. And they have a 6 mile trail that is just gorgeous views and beautiful nature. And so I like going out there. And then I also like doing trivia. I have this friend group that where we go to bar trivia, and we call ourselves Dad's Night Out, even though none of us are dads.
Love
But
it.
we won yesterday,
Heck
so
yeah.
we got like $40. So
Congrats.
yeah,
Is it 40, like each person got $40 or you
no,
split?
the group, yeah.
Okay. So you got
So
like
I
what,
think we're
five?
planning. Yeah, so I think our group has become really good friends with one of the waitresses, so I think we might tip her really good.
Oh,
So
that's very sweet. Very
yeah.
sweet. Cool. So let's talk about the keynote stuff.
Yeah.
So when you first saw that there was an opportunity for there to be a keynote speaker at our district conventions, like what made you want to go for it?
Oh, so I saw it on the national page, and I definitely, thought that I could definitely apply for it. I feel like I had a really good story that I could tell with it and fit the prompts that were given. But what actually ultimately ended up pushing me to apply for it was Dr. Rohr sent the post to me on Instagram, and he didn't even say anything. He just sent the post to me. And then I like waited a couple minutes to see if he was going to say something. Nothing. And so then I was like, yep, I'm going to apply. And he said, yay. So
That's awesome.
yeah, literally just him sending that post to me was like the nail in the coffin where I'm like, I'm going to do this.
Good. That's lovely. I mean, that tap on the shoulder is so important. Hey, you do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
so when you found out you were selected, like, what did that mean to you in that moment?
Yeah. I mean, just receiving that email from Bong, it felt so um validating to me. I'm a person who constantly worries about things, and so when something does go right, I get overwhelmed with excitement. And so I saw that email and I let out a shout, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." But we weren't able to like tell other people, and so I was like, I have no one to tell this to
Oh
except for like
man.
I texted my parents to tell them that I got the keynote speaker, and I was like telling my roommates as well, because they're not in Kappa, but just sharing that with the people who I was close with, that meant so much to me. And then eventually, like I told some of my close friends who were in Kappa, but I think some of them had an idea because they were on district council and knew that I was the keynote speaker,
Mm.
and so being able to share that meant a lot to me.
That is so lovely. So, kudos to you for not accidentally sharing with the chapter. No shade to
Yeah,
Haley and Audrey. But, I mean, I probably would have shared it. I'd been like, oh, this is so cool.
I know. Yeah.
Um, so I was there. I saw, but what was your keynote about?
Yeah, so I covered a couple different topics and ideas. I started with talking about my Kappa Kappa whys, and those were just the reasons why I joined this fraternity and why I continued to play an active part in it. In it, I talked about like it's the reason we stay grounded for this organization when things get hard. And so I talked about like when I first joined, a lot of my high school friends were in it, and I saw that could be a place where I belong and continue
Mm.
to keep my friends with my high school. My big was one of my high school best friends, Keith Hancock, and so having that leadership there with and my brother leading me as a brother was incredible. My second reason I talked about like wanting to become braver and a better leader. I was definitely looking for a way to be more outgoing, and I saw this as my opportunity because I saw so many leaders from the marching band in there. I didn't join my freshman year, I joined my sophomore year, and so I had a year to kind of view the organization and see who was in it, and every person I saw in it was a good person, and so that meant a lot to me. And then my third reason was just because I wanted to serve the bands. And so those were the three reasons of why I joined and why I feel so connected to the brotherhood there. I then kind of moved on to my moment of being seen, where I talked about our chapter receiving the Kenneth M. Corbett Chapter Improvement Award. And that was so validating to me because that was something that, included everything from 2023 to 2025. Every initiative that our chapter took on to improve ourselves, to improve our brotherhood, that was one of the greatest moments. And I got to spend that moment with my brothers who were there at NatCon. I as soon as they like announced it, we jumped up, started giving each other big hugs, and that I felt so connected to that. And I instantly texted the brothers who were back home, like, "Hey, we got this award." They
Mm.
saw everything that we have done for the past 2 years, and so that was just an incredible moment. And then I kind of moved on to like being appreciated. A lot of the service we do, it's not big flashy events. They're hands-on type of things, helping other people. And for some of those services, there's not people there to congratulate us for the work that we do. And
Mm.
so I talked about how I feel most appreciated just by knowing that I helped someone, and I get to share that moment with the brothers who were there, and that's what I need. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's something I'm teaching my students right now is that being a servant leader is thankless. And so are you seeking validation and wanting people to notice you, which is nice, or are we able to actually find that fulfillment through somebody's life is better because of something that I did?
exactly.
Um, yeah, and I feel like I mean me seeing you and knowing you, some of the wants that you had from Kappa Kappa side joining it, I think have definitely been realized. Um, I mean, especially like being a J. Lee Burke recipient now too, like just very very deserving.
Thank you.
Uh,
Yeah.
so when you were giving the speech, uh, what was it like to be up in front of the Midwest District and share all that?
It was a very honorable moment for me. I have made so many friends across the district, and from every chapter I've gone to know incredible people and become really good friends with them. And so standing in front of the room was incredibly easy for me. The hardest part was taking the first step up there because I
Mm.
had to build myself up to be like, here's the moment. It was also very early in the morning, so I was kind of tired as well.
Yeah.
But once I started, starting the speech was a little difficult. I jumbled over my words a little bit, but then I got into a really good flow. Once I got to look out and see my brothers and see friends from across the district, people who have supported me, and in that moment, they weren't saying anything, they were just looking at me, but I felt so supported and that they wanted to hear my story. And so for me, it was so easy to stand in front of them.
Good. That's wonderful to hear. Um, you like whenever we speak, you just seem like you exude this like ease of like, you know, speech is like the wrong way, but like yeah, I don't know, you're just really easy to talk to, and it seems like that's something that you're really comfortable with. Do you give or do you do a lot of public speaking just kind of in general besides being chapter president?
So I was a forensics and debate kid in high school.
Okay.
And so I did a lot of work on that, giving acting and speeches in front of like judges and in front of other people. I was a theater kid as well, and so like I performed in front of people. For my major, and as a scientist and researcher, I have to give seminars and presentations. So, like for the masters, I've given two seminars already that were 20 plus minutes on my research. And those are incredibly stressful to me because, I'm being judged for a lot of the things that I'm presenting. And like, I have to make sure that every single detail is perfect for that. But when I'm talking about my own experiences, don't feel judgment out of that. I
Mm.
feel, ease, like you said, when I'm talking about those type of things. So, if it's just something that I get to experience, to me, I'm excited to give that. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely tell when you're up there. Like, yeah, I'm just talking, and even though there's a bunch of people, it's like I'm talking directly to you, which is so cool and very tough to do. Um, what, if anything, do you hope that brothers took away from your keynote?
I tried to give some lessons and advice that I had learned along the way. I think one of the biggest pieces of advice that I gave in my speech was something that I had learned from the national board. After we had received the Kenneth M. Corbett Award, I was trying to figure out, okay, what can we do for this next year? I had so many ideas that were just like a new flagship project, more services, more community events. And when I asked the national board, where do I go from here? Their advice to me was remember the basics. And that was a moment I was not expecting.
Mm.
Because I had heard them like, yeah, go bigger, more. And so for them to hear, remember the basics, that really set us up for success this year because we started just like with the everyday things that our chapter does, the setting up of a field, which our chapter doesn't necessarily do anymore, as the graduate assistants do that, but cleaning the uniforms, putting them together, distributing them, we have to plan and establish those, and if those aren't good, we can't do these big things. And so that was the biggest lesson that I've learned this past year and advice that I wanted to give to our brothers. And I also wanted them to just think about their why. That's something big that, I got to thinking about from NatCon, was the why and why I joined this organization. One of my brothers was one of the national keynote speakers, Sophia Glanville.
Yeah.
And she talks about her experience with remembering her why and why that meant so much to her. And I knew, I had to bring that to to the district level as well because that's so meaningful and it keeps me in this organization.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean personally, like that, like remember your basics. That really spoke to me because I mean I'm a music educator and like doing high school band. I'm trying to think like how can I continue to like push and innovate with my students, and then like when I'm getting frustrated, okay, why am I getting frustrated with this stuff? let's go back to the basics and let's go back
Yeah.
to let's make sure that we're producing that good tone and good stuff. So do know that I heard that message loud and clear, and thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Um, so kind of getting here towards the end of our questions. This is the first year that active students were doing this district keynote thing. We've done it nationally, and I'm so glad that it happened in this district here. And it for the Founder Circle, I'm telling you, better keep it going. This has been great. Uh,
Absolutely.
what does it mean to you that active voices got to be featured this way?
Um, like I said, at NatCon we had this student speakers, and so I learned so much just from those brothers at NatCon, and so it just made so much sense to have this at the district level. Um, I love hearing like Adam Cantley's stories and hearing our national board speakers at district conventions, but it means for so much for someone our age to be able to speak as well. And so I had a couple brothers come up to me, talking about that they learned a lot from my speech. And it's just being able to hear from someone who is going through maybe what some of these brothers are going through. I think that can mean so much. And so when I gave my speech, I thought, what do other brothers who are going through situations want to hear? And so Bong also shared a bunch of quotes from other keynote speakers, and those quotes, single sentence, two sentence quotes themselves meant so much to me, and I was able to take things from that. And so I want to be able to hear the other speeches as well, but just being able for active brothers to share their experiences that other brothers may be going through, I think that can help someone so much. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I 100% agree. So if people are kind of like on the fence in the future about do I, um, you know, write something, turn something in, what would you say to somebody on the fence to push them over to submitting?
Absolutely do it. It was so easy for me, in my experience. Like I'm not maybe the best at writing speeches, but to be able to share my own experience was so easy. Writing that speech is incredibly easy. The hardest part for me was not being interrupted while I was recording the speech, but submitting it was incredibly easy as well. If you don't get it, use that opportunity to tell people in your district your story. One of my favorite parts of district is having a table with a scrapbook and our trifold where we just get to tell our story of every single thing that we got to do. And I did that last year at district convention. I got to do it at NatCon, and just being able to talk to people. Just because you don't get that opportunity doesn't mean you can't tell your story. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. Um, all right, so my last question. It's a month of brotherhood,
Yeah.
and we're asking everybody to share a brotherhood moment, a moment where you felt truly connected to the brotherhood of Kappa Kappa Psi, and I'm wondering if you've got one to share.
Oh, just one. Um, my mind instantly goes to technically before I was a brother, but when my big Keith Hancock walked up to me for the first time with my letter saying that I have been extended membership candidacy, and so that's the first moment I got to think about because I knew that I was about to join something bigger than myself. And then every moment that led up to it through membership education, through the rituals, seeing our brothers there to help support us along our journey. I guess another moment that I think about is any time that our brothers get together to sing our hymn. That's just an incredible moment where there's so much meeting in our hymn, and to be able to end a chapter meeting and stand in a circle and sing our hymn together to create music there. It's so meaningful.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
absolutely agree. And for people who are listening, like this moment of brotherhood, was before he was a brother. So like the brotherhood that we have it's not just reserved for us. Yes, it's special for us, but other people can feel it too, especially when we're doing it right. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. Well, Braxton, thank you so much. It's so great to see you, man.
Thank you. This was incredible, and I appreciate this opportunity so much.
Of course, of course. So we'll definitely be in touch, and I hope you have a great night, man.
Thank you
Yeah,
too.
so long.
Bye.
Alrighty. So that was Braxton. It was great, absolutely lovely. And again, I apologize. I'm running behind. If you can't tell, I'm a yapper. My students know that for sure. So I'm going to stop yapping and I'm going to go ahead and bring Jocelyn in from the Northeast District. And we're going to talk about another keynote. Thank you so much for being here with me tonight. And yeah, here's Jocelyn. As long as it lets her in. Yeah. There we go. Hey, Jocelyn.
Hey,
How are you?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I love your background so much. It's
Thank you.
it's a vibe that I would love for myself, but if I turn this off, you would see um, my concert clothes from yesterday laying on my ironing board. I see my earbuds right there. I have other clothes on the floor. Nobody needs to see all that. So, I have a random question before we get started, and it's that you have an 843 phone number.
Yeah.
So, where are you like from, like Charleston? That's my guess.
Yeah. So, my mom pretty much grew up for like half of her life in Charleston. My grandfather's in the military. My dad later joined the military, by going to the Citadel. And so that's how my parents met. So I was born there, lived there for about 5 years, and back frequently.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, because when I was texting everybody, I was like, wait, that's a South Carolina number. Like I have a Georgia
Yeah.
number, but clearly South
Yeah.
Carolina. Yeah, that's awesome. And man, you said the Citadel, and I got triggered because my principal he went to the Citadel, and when I got hired, he immediately reminded me that the Citadel beat South Carolina in football. It was a rough year, man. It was a rough year, but yeah. So thank you so much for being here tonight. And for people who don't know you, who are you? What do you do? What's
Yeah.
your major? All that stuff.
Yeah, so I'm currently a junior at James Madison University. It's in Harrisonburg, Virginia, which is kind of tucked away into the Shenandoah Valley, which has been a completely different experience from living on the coast my entire life. So it's weird not having a beach right outside my house. Um, but yeah, I'm a BA Music Studies major, which is a like fairly new program at JMU. So it's been kind of nice to navigate like being in this program, but also being like the leader of it and being the first like one of the first people to actually go through the program,
Yeah.
as well as being like in the honors college. And then my primary instrument is percussion, and I also sing as well. So I actually just had like a choir rehearsal earlier today. So it's been a chaotic Monday.
Yeah, that is awesome. It's Wednesday actually, so that's I mean that's how
Oh, Wednesday,
chaotic your
yeah. Yes,
Wednesday
yeah.
is. Yeah, well that's really cool. So I just had a question um about the instrument stuff, but I lost it. But when is your concert coming up for choir?
We have a concert on Tuesday of next week.
Okay,
So we're doing like a combined concert with our chamber orchestra, which is really cool. So we're
very
singing
cool.
Haydn's Little Organ Mass, which is about like a 25-minute long little mass. So we've been learning that.
Ah, wow. If there's a stream or something for that, please send it my way. I would
Oh
love
yeah,
to see it.
absolutely.
Yeah. But before that, I do have to watch Lauren's concert because Lauren Gallagher sent me her concert and she's like my last concert ever, and I have not watched it yet. Sorry, Lauren. I will watch it very soon. Uh, cool. So outside of doing all of your music stuff with whatever free time you have, how do you like to spend your free time?
I'm a really big crafter. So
Okay.
anytime I can get my hands on like painting or I am working on a like diamond painting right now. I've done a couple of those before. And then also like kind of tying with music, but like I do a lot of community service. So once a week, actually today, I go to the Children's Museum that we have downtown here. And I spend about 2 hours there just like being on a floor volunteer. So I tidy up like the exhibits for the kids. Sometimes it's interacting with the parents and the kids. And so that just brings me a lot of joy, especially because like it's fun to see their creative little brains and how they play. So it's really nice.
That is amazing. That is also like so kind of you to go out and volunteer and be there for the kids especially. A diamond puzzle, are those the ones where you like get a whole bunch of like diamonds, you have to like put them in like the little slots or something like that?
It's like so it's like a sticky like painting thing. Yeah, and then you put all the gems on it.
Yeah.
So it like tells you where to put them.
I think my
Yeah.
mom started one of those, but we both have ADHD, so I don't think it ever finished.
It's okay. Mine gets touched like once a month if I'm lucky. It's been sitting on my like bay window downstairs for like a while now.
Yeah, I get that for sure. So let's talk about some keynote stuff. Whenever you first saw that like we were doing student keynotes at our district conventions, what made you want to apply for it?
Ooh. So honestly, it was kind of just like a I should just take this opportunity because it's one that's being presented. But also like another big influence was Summer Kaswan was the one of the keynote speakers at the national convention over the summer. And that was my VPM going through my process. So she has been a big inspiration to me. Um, and thinking about what she said and how her story got told just made me want to be able to tell my own, especially because I feel like I have had some experiences that aren't like not necessarily uncommon, but haven't been like verbally spoken out loud. And so
Mm,
I had a feeling like deep down that there were people that needed to hear this.
yeah, that's so lovely. So knowing that and having that inspiration for like, I feel like there's something that these people need to hear. What was it like to like see that email and see that, hey, you've been selected?
It was surreal. I submitted it and I honestly was just kind of like, whatever happens, happens. At least I could say that I went out for it and I did it. So getting the email like, oh, congrats, you've been selected. I was like, wow, what do I do with this now? Like it was a journey definitely. I feel like, okay, well I got this, and then having all of like my coaching sessions and being able to like talk about it out loud. And this was really one of the first times I talked about this experience to somebody other than um my VPN actually. So it was kind of like a weight off my shoulders in a way too.
Mm, that's good. And do you still feel like lifted from that? Just like a
Yeah,
breath of
I
fresh air.
I do, especially because no one in my like chapter really knew about how I had been feeling as well with this speech. And I honestly can't even remember. I think I might have mentioned to them that I applied, but then that was kind of it. Especially because I was like keeping it under wraps about getting it. So that was like a hard thing was not being able to be like, guys, I have this really exciting thing to tell you, but I can't tell you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for reading the all the way to the bottom of the email and not sharing.
Yeah.
I know Bong appreciates that. So we kind of been hinting at it, but what was your keynote about?
So I decided to go down the path of when was the time that you felt uplifted or seen in KKSI. And I, so I was a fall 23 initiate. So that was my first semester as a freshman. Um, and we, it was interesting. I say all the time that if I didn't join as a freshman, I don't know where I would be right now.
Hmm.
I have like a really deep desire to belong to something, like in order to feel complete. So this was kind of my belonging,
Hmm.
but that feeling faded very quickly. Um, and a lot of it stemmed from I had a class of 11 people, and it was primarily tubas and mellophones. And then there was one baritone and one percussionist, which was me. And so it was like I was coming from this class where all these tubas and mellows had spent the entire season together with each other. They were super close, and I really didn't know anyone. And I had like my moments with my class where we got to spend a lot of time together. And then it really came down to like winter break, feeling like so away from this fraternity that I had been so involved in through my process for my first semester. And then I was home for a month. And then when we came back, I just didn't feel like things were the same.
Hmm.
Um, and so I kind of started to like check out in a way because I felt like I didn't belong there as much as I did my first semester. And maybe that was, battling the transition from going from an MC to a brother for the first time. Um, and understanding what it's like to be an active brother. And so I reached out to my VPM and I was like, hey, I'm really going through it right now. I just don't feel like I belong. I don't feel like, this fraternity is the place for me anymore. And I had thoughts about dropping. And she was like, well, like, let's set up a time to meet. And so we had this whole discussion. And I like felt comfortable telling her everything that I was thinking. And so that's what our conversation was. Um, and I know that there are people out there who have also felt this way, but maybe don't have, are ready to say it out loud. And now that it's been 3 years since that, I finally felt ready to tell my story about that.
Yeah. Wow, that is so inspirational. And I mean, I can guarantee you, I mean, if nobody else told you, like, that is, I'm sure, a common feeling in people, in a place where you're supposed to be like, hey, like, this is all good. I mean, like, we enjoy this. And, like, every now and again we have drama or whatever. Like, that feeling of, I don't really feel like this is a space for me anymore. And, like, that tension and, like, it feels wrong almost is. I'm sure way more people feel it than say it because it's scary. But I mean, also such an inspiration to actually like speak up to your VPM in that moment and say like be vulnerable in that moment. So yeah, I just thanks so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Um, as you were getting closer and closer to convention and closer like to your keynote, was it starting to get like more nerve-wracking, like a little bit more intense of like, okay, I'm finally about to share this?
Yes, but also like no at the same time because on the other side of it, it was like I'm finally about to share this.
Mm,
So it was more of like in a way kind of closure.
mm,
Um and the nerve-wracking part, I think I was more nervous to stand up and say this in front of the brothers like of my chapter than I was of brothers from other chapters because it was so like this is an experience that I had directly with the chapter. And we had a lot of like new brothers who had crossed in the fall, went to NedCon for us this year. And so it was like they really have no idea like
mm,
what I had like gone through or the things that I felt. But I don't want them to ever feel like that and not feel like they can go to somebody. So in a way, it was almost like I get to be an inspiration. So it was a mix between being nervous and also excited.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So as you're standing up there and you're saying all of this, like what sort of emotions are going through you?
I kind of started to feel like proud at one point.
Mm,
I think a lot of it was just being able to look out and see all of the brothers that were there. And I kind of like finished my speech by saying that at any point you're never alone in the fraternity. And I learned that lesson, especially now throughout my time. Like, there's always going to be somebody in your corner, regardless of whether it's somebody that you're close with or somebody that you're not close with. Um, and I really like started to see that, especially like looking out and seeing people that I have met in other chapters as well, and knowing that like I don't see them all the time, but I get to see them at conventions or if we travel to other schools for their like rituals or probate shows or whatever, and just get to see them again and know that like you have friends in every corner. And so I became proud of the brotherhood and I was feeling proud of myself. And I started to get really emotional when I mentioned like one of the greatest things I've ever done in this fraternity was be a big,
mm.
because then like and my little was there at her very first convention as well. So it was like I'm really standing up there and I know that like at least one person in this room is looking up to me right now and has looked up to me in the past.
I don't have any tissues around, and so I just need to be mindful of that as we keep talking. I'm legitimately getting chills from this. Wow, that is, mm, yeah, Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Um, so as you're, no, that's the wrong thing for me to say. Do you do like any speaking, like public speaking stuff, like before this, or have you done, or is this kind of like a, well, let's do it?
I actually have a lot of public speaking experience.
Awesome.
So the public speaking part of it was like the least concern for me. Like I went to high school for 4 years studying theater. Like I was in a theater academy.
Okay.
I was on our like forensics and debate team, so I competed in a speech category. So that was like the least nerve-wracking part of all of this for me.
Oh, that's great. Cool. Do you feel like being up there and telling this and um sharing this story kind of changed the way that you saw or that you see yourself as a leader, as a brother?
Absolutely. Like I said, it really gave me a chance to reflect back on my time and focus on how I have grown since that moment. And, I leadership comes in all sorts of different shapes and sizes. And, a big thing for me is that like you don't have to be an exec member in your chapter or anything like that to be a leader and to be a role model for people. And that's also kind of like what I was feeling as well. Because, I really don't do like not that I don't do much, but it's I'm not our VPM, I'm not our president or anything like that, but I can still go up there and tell my story.
Yeah. And that is enough, and that alone can make a difference in somebody else. Um 100%. Like, was there anybody that like came up to you afterwards and they were like, kind of saying, "Hey, like, thank you for sharing that. It's giving me more confidence to speak out about it."
Yeah, there were a good amount of people that would come up to me in person throughout the rest of that day at convention. And then somebody even reached out to me on Instagram and was like, I really needed to hear this. And we just were kind of talking, and she was telling me her story a little bit, and I was just listening. I was being that person that she needed to be
Mhm.
able to say this. And that was super touching in and of itself, and was like, wow, people really like were actually listening, and I wasn't just up there talking. Like this resonated with people, and that it just makes you feel like so warm inside.
Yeah, I can imagine. I personally like never have given like a keynote at a convention or anything. Like, yeah, I talk because that's my job, right? But like I'm so glad to see students up there getting to have that experience and make those connections. And then, and the ones that I saw as I look around the room at the other students who are watching and just like seeing all of them so engaged, it's lovely. And it's because of students like you making that choice to put yourself out there and tell your story. Um, so, with this being the first year that we've had active students at the district level doing these student keynotes, what do you like? What does it mean to you to have us feature active voices this way?
I I think that this is something that I kind of feel like has been overdue.
Mm,
You know, like I said, a lot of people have different stories, and we all have different experiences. Even within your chapter, your process isn't going to be the same as somebody else's. Um, and I think it means a lot, and it's a powerful thing to be able to get up there and say your experiences and use your voice to talk about things that I called it the uncomfortable conversations in my speech, and being able to have those and say those things.
yeah, that's a perfect framing. Absolutely. So if somebody's like kind of sitting on the fence and they're like, I don't know if I want to like submit for this or not, um, what would you say to them to, you know, push them into submitting?
I the worst that can happen is that you don't get it. At least you took the leap, and that alone I think is the biggest hurdle of being able to sit there and write out your speech and talk about your experience. And maybe that's the first time, like for me, that you're putting this into words to share with other people other than just the one person you talk to. I think that alone is an accomplishment that you should be proud of. And so being able to take that leap and just like just do it, just write the essay,
Yeah.
and at least you can say that you I don't want to say tried, but like you went out for it.
Yeah.
And that alone is a big thing. And right now we're in like the height of our elections. And one of my younger brothers was like, I'm nervous about this. And I was like, well, at least like you're going out for it, and that alone is something that you should be proud of.
100,000%. Yeah, and when you do it, like you prove to yourself, like I have the ability to do this. Like
Mm-hmm.
I might not get selected, but I showed that I can take the steps to
Yeah.
maybe be selected one day. Cool. So my last question for you is, I've been asking everybody. We're in our month of brotherhood, and we've been asking for a brotherhood moment. It's a moment where you felt truly connected to the brotherhood of Kappa Kappa Psi. And I was wondering if you had an experience to share.
Ooh. I I think for me, a big one more recently has been I was at the installation for Bowie State last year, and got to be there for their third as well. And that was my first time going to another fraternal event outside of my chapter. That wasn't like a district or national thing. And being able to sing the hymn with another chapter was something that like really struck me, because I just looking around the room, it's like all of these people are my brothers. And it was kind of surreal. And I feel that way anytime we sing the hymn, especially at convention, and singing it at the national convention as well over the summer was another big thing, because once again it was like there are so many people in this room and they're all my brothers, and like that is such a beautiful thing to me. And the whole like music makes me really emotional.
Yeah.
So that is also something I'm definitely a crier during the hymn, that's for sure.
Yeah, me too. I have to close my eyes. I can't look at everybody else because if I do, it's not going to be good. So, well, lovely. Well, Jocelyn, thank you so much for being here and talking with me and sharing your story. It's I'm still getting chills from what you said, and having those uncomfortable, overdue conversations, I think is very important for us. And so I hope that people watching this um, can still be inspired by you and your message. So
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Thank you for having me.
of course, of course. So we'll be in touch for sure, and I hope you have a great night and good luck at your concert next Tuesday. Please send me a link to it, and I will watch.
Yes, I will do that like immediately, I promise.
All right, see you, Jocelyn.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye. All right. Man, it's been a wild time. Like time has really flown by. I can't believe it's been, what is that, an hour, 38 minutes? Wow. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me. So, we've got one more and it's pre-recorded. It's a chat that I had on Sunday. Was it Sunday? No, it was Saturday. Because on Sunday we went to go install um, Xi Omicron Allen University. So it was on Saturday with Nolan, Nolan from the NCD, and chatting with him about his keynote speech. Again, just a lovely soul, a lot of really great energy. And check this out, and I'll see you when it's done. So this is a bad start, and I'm gonna start over because I didn't even think about what I was gonna say first. Um, well, Nolan, thanks so much for being here, and thanks really for taking the time. I'm sure that things are super busy for you as we're getting to the end of the semester. For brothers who might not know you yet, if you don't mind just introducing yourself, where you're from, your major, your instrument, stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. My name is Nolan Miller. I go to Kent State University in Ohio. I am a music education major playing the trumpet. I was initiated into Kappa Kappa Psi last spring. Um, yeah.
Nice. Cool. So outside of like band and fraternity and the practice room, what do you like to spend your free time doing if you have any?
Yeah, so I like to spend a lot of time with my friends and family, whether that's playing or watching sports. I'm a big pickleball guy, so I
Nice.
really like, hitting the courts, playing some pickleball. Especially this time of year, it's just finally starting to get nicer, but for a while I was playing a lot of indoor. But it's starting to get nicer, so we're finally getting to the outdoor courts again. So pretty nice. I play a lot of pickleball, and then I like to watch a lot of baseball. I'm a big Chicago Cubs fan. Go Cubs, go! So big on baseball. Yeah, I mean, mainly just hanging out with friends and family. Yeah.
That's awesome. What got you into pickleball? I'm curious.
So my brother actually, I have two older brothers, and my brother once was, he told me about, we used to grow up playing ping pong, and they used to like absolutely wallop me, like scold me in ping pong. So one day he was like, "Hey, this local church is hosting pickleball. Do you want to go play?" And I was like, "Sure." And I ended up not being too bad at it because it does a lot of like tennis, badminton, or ping pong. Other racket sports translate well to the game. So we played, and in my first game with him, we got absolutely scolded by these two elderly ladies.
Oh no.
Just absolutely crushed. So that's when I realized, I was like, man, this is a game where everybody can go out there and compete, and like it doesn't matter like if you're like 7 feet tall, super athletic, or you're like 5 feet and you can't move. Like it doesn't matter. Like it's a game of who can hit the better shot. So I really enjoy that aspect. I think it's cool that everybody can play and it's super accessible and easy to pick up. But it's also like the competitive side of it is surprisingly pretty tough. Like I play in
Wow.
tournaments and stuff, and some of those guys are absolutely crazy. So it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Sweet.
So I want to talk about some keynote stuff because this is the first year that we've done this student keynote experience at the district convention, and you've had the really amazing opportunity to get up there and speak. And so just kind of like going through the process like chronologically. When you first saw the opportunity to apply as a keynote speaker from our founders circle, what made you want to go for it?
So I'm actually a high school speech and debate coach in the local Ohio circuit. So I enjoy public speaking. I love it, and especially in an activity where it's very message based, right? You want to make sure everybody knows, you want to make sure it's very clear what you're trying to say at all times, and get your story across, right? And I thought my story into Kappa Kappa Psi was a story that was pretty familiar to a lot of people, where it was kind of like somebody just casually mentioned it to me, where they were just kind of like, you should join Kappa Kappa Psi, and I was like, what is Kappa Kappa Psi? So like it's the little things like that where you don't really think a whole lot about it when it when the moment comes, but I thought that little moment was enough to make me want to write a speech for and tell a story to the rest of the district, something that I think a lot of people can relate to, and meant a lot to me. So
Yeah, that's amazing. So you probably have like a lot of opportunity and experience writing speeches and stuff because of speech and debate, right?
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
super nice. It was a super applicable experience because I mean, like, I'm not super afraid to get up in front of people, and I'm not, and I love writing. Like, it was perfect. I loved it.
Yeah, that's so cool. Um, so when you found out you were selected, what did that mean to you? Are you like jumping for joy over the moon? And you're like, all right, the real game starts now.
Yeah, so I was actually I just went up to the practice room to start warming up for my lesson, and I get an email that was like, at first, honestly, when I got the email, I thought I didn't get it because the email was like, thank you for your application. We're so glad that you tried out. And I was like, oh shoot, like I didn't get it. Like, and then I like scroll down, and we're like, and with that being said, we're so glad to have selected you. I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is crazy. So I was super excited. Like, I got the email, and I was instantly texting my family. I was like, holy cow, like I'm gonna go speak in front of like a few hundred people, like a few hundred of my fellow brothers. Like, this is sick. And I was super excited, and like it meant a lot to me to find out I was going to have the experience to tell my story in front of so many people, because it means so much to me, And I felt like it was a story that would resonate with so many other people, and I was just so incredibly honored and so excited.
Yeah, that is so cool. Yeah, Bong does love to throw those like little curveballs where he's gonna lead
Yeah,
you
man, it's
on to
messed
the
up,
very
man.
end. Cool. So like, you talked a little bit about your story, and wanting to share it. Like, what was your keynote about?
So my keynote was about appreciating the little moments. So obviously there's one moment in particular that resonated with me most, but I wanted to talk about, I wanted to shout out all the things that make Kappa Kappa Psi mean so much to me. And, it really is the little things where it's, hanging out with brothers after a long day, or, just fist bumping each other and asking how we are. We do this thing in our chapter called Pass the Gavel, where for 30 seconds we each talk about, at our chapter meeting, we each talk about what has, made our week, what's breaking our week, all that good stuff. So it's stuff like that where, and it really is the little things that mean a lot. And ultimately, the thing I spoke about and that resonated with me most was when somebody told me that Kappa Kappa Psi is for me. That one moment that, resonated with me most, where it was somebody looked at me eye to eye and was like, Kappa Kappa Psi is for you. And again, I think this is an experience that a lot of people have had, or they've, and I had heard of Kappa Kappa Psi before that. But this was the one moment where I was like, it means, I realized then it means more for somebody to look you in the eyes and tell you that you belong. And that was the main component of my speech. But, I also talked about the other things like Pass the Gavel, or, like concerts, playing concerts with my fellow brothers. Again, I'm a music education major. I'm a junior. I recognize that I'm going to student teach next spring. This fall, this is it.
Yeah.
And while I'm going to be hopefully a band director or choir director and, conduct performances of my own, it won't have the same impact as going into a concert with my fellow brothers next to me. Like, there's something about that just means so much to me that I recognize I won't have the privilege to do that in just a few short months. I mean, like, the thing that makes Kappa Kappa Psi what it is, I mean, it's the people, right? Having a brotherhood that you can rely on, again, after a long day, or even a chapter meeting, like having a group that you can rely on to just be there for you, it really means a lot.
Yeah, I love to hear that. So as convention was getting closer, were you getting more excited or more nervous to be in front of everybody?
Man, I was just so excited. I was so excited. Obviously, there's like that pit in your stomach before you perform. Or again, I did speech and debate. I coached speech and debate. Like right before you're about to speak, like that pit in your stomach where you're like, holy cow, this is happening. And you get like kind of jumpy, and you start tapping your toes. Like, you're so excited. But obviously you're a little nervous, right? You're about to speak in front of a few hundred people. So, leading up to convention, I was just so excited. And when I got there, I actually spoke on Sunday. So when I got there Friday, it allowed me to kind of like settle in and like kind of recognize what's going on. Because the other thing for me was this was my first convention. This was my first.
Wow.
Yeah, this was my first Psi convention, first district convention. I had never been to one of these before, and I was like, what is the audience going to be like? Like, I had some jokes written in. I was like, are they going to like these jokes? Honestly, I was most nervous about the jokes. I was like, if they don't like the jokes, I don't know what to do. Like, I will lose it on stage. Like, I will cry. So I want to make sure the jokes would hit. Like, that was my big concern, because I'm a pretty anxious person in general, but my anxiety comes from lack of being prepared. Like, the more prepared I am, the better I feel. I was super prepared going in, but the fear of the unknown always gets to you. It's like, I don't know these people. I don't know how they're going to react to this. Are they going to think it's funny? Is the big moment actually going to resonate? Is this just a personal experience that nobody else will like appreciate or understand? Like, it was the fear of how the audience would react and how they would feel it. And it meant a lot. It meant most having the support of my chapter to look at me and be like, you got this. Like, this is what you've been like working on, and like it means a lot having their support. But again, we're just a drop in the bucket when it comes to a big conference like that. And I was obviously scared about if my experience would actually resonate with everybody else. So that was my biggest fear, was honestly how would the audience react? How would the audience process what I'm talking about? Would they feel the same way?
When you got up there and you finally did speak, how do you feel like everybody responded to your speech?
Again, it was early Sunday morning, so it was everybody was a little bit tired. So I was like, we gotta get everybody up. We gotta wake everybody up. So that Thursday night, I actually wrote in a ice cream joke. And I was like, maybe if I put in this ice cream joke super early, like people will laugh and like I'll get people to like kind of jump on board. It'll be great. And it ended up working out. And honestly, being up there, like once I realized, I was like, okay, this is working. Like people feel this. I could feel the energy in the room, and I was trying to milk every moment while I was up there. Standing in front of my peers, standing in front of my fellow brothers, and just really appreciating the moment. Because once you're actually up there, I kind of felt like the nerves kind of crept away, to be honest. Like I wasn't super nervous once I was up there, because it's kind of sink or swim once you're up there. You know what I mean? Like
That's true.
It's like, but there's still like that, like kind of those nerves sitting in, like settling in the whole weekend, that are like, all right, we're gonna do this. It's gonna be great. Like, and just being super prepared, being confident, allowed me to be even more emotional and even more passionate about what I was saying. And I really felt like it got my message across. I felt like it was good.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, there's no way you're just gonna mention this ice cream joke and then not say it. So
I talked about enjoying the little moments. So I was like, like hugging a friend after a long day, doing this, that, and then eventually I was just like, and having the Dairy Queen Ultimate Cookie Blizzard for the very first time. The little things. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
So
I do love me a Blizzard, man. They're so good.
And I love Dairy Queen. They got really good food. They're freaking chicken
underrated, man.
On. Yeah, it's slept on. Their chicken strip, I don't know, it's so good. And like I love Cane's, I love Chick-fil-A as much as the next guy, but this place is good, man. It's slept on. And they got ice cream. They got ice cream. It's so good.
How is giving this keynote at convention different than other speaking experiences that you've had? I mean, clearly you've had a bunch. But.
Yeah, I mean, this was easily my biggest audience yet, and it's a different vibe. I mean, it's in the speech made activity, we don't really stand behind a podium. We don't really have our notes. We're supposed to be memorized, so it was different. Having notes in front of me allowed me to really, really milk the moment, and standing behind the podium, it was a different vibe. It was a different vibe for sure. Obviously, speech made is a very competitive activity, so it's a little bit different. You're competing against people. I was competing against nobody. So I was, up there mainly just competing for audience engagement, right? Making sure that my speech really resonated with the audience. So,
if I'm thinking about this correctly, it kind of sounds like the biggest takeaway you wanted people to have from your keynote was like it's the little things, and it's those personal connections that make this place unique and bring people together. Is that right?
Yes, correct. I wanted them to understand that little moment was the reason I joined Psi. That one little moment was the reason I was speaking in front of people. That one moment was the reason, like that. I wanted that to understand, like those little moments end up being the big things, right? And again, those big events, like those are great. Those are great. You get people in the door. That's what's important, is getting people in the door and realizing, oh, Psi's like a cool place. This is great. But those little things, they snowball, right? They build into these other things and these other opportunities. And if it wasn't for, my friend Jared looking me in the eyes and being like, hey, this is what Psi is about. You should do it. I would have never been speaking in front of people. I would have never been, I would have never had those opportunities to do those super cool things and to be a part of Psi. So
yeah, that's amazing.
And I wanted people to understand that, like, those little things, because they snowball, I wanted people to understand that this is something that you can take back home. Like, I wanted people to realize that I'm not like the only person this happens to. Like, there are other people just like me at these other schools, from Ohio, from Michigan, Indiana, Illinois. Like, these other schools, they have people just like me who they need somebody to tell them that Psi is for them, and to understand that, and to realize that. And I wanted people to realize that you need to go home and do the same thing. I wanted my story to spread across everywhere. And like for people to understand that it takes effort. Like you have to get personal with these people and like actually look them in the eyes and tell them like you belong inside. And I wanted people to go back home and share that with people. That was the main thing.
Yeah. Do you feel like doing this, being this keynote speaker, has changed the way that you see yourself at all?
It makes me realize that I need to pass it forward. Like I need to do the same thing. I can't, you got to practice what you preach. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I can't be like, you guys got to tell everybody that it's for you. And then like not do it, So,
Yeah.
I'm waiting. I actually mentioned this in my speech where I'm like, I'm waiting for the moment where somebody just like me sits beside me and, whether it's band or in a class and, I can share that same thing where like, again, this is what was most impactful for me. And, at the end of the day, for some people, it might not be that, It might be going to some big event and being like, wow, capture the flag's really fun. Or, getting to know the brothers is super cool. Playing kickball, like doing stuff like that. It might be that, it might be that. But for me, it was, I had the biggest realization that Psi was for me when somebody actually like told me that you should do Psi. Like that's what it's about. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So with this being the first year that we had student keynote speakers, what does it mean to you that like students are being featured in this way? Like our active brothers are getting to have this bigger platform at our conventions.
Oh, it is absolutely incredible. I'm so glad they made it like they turned this into it's such an incredible opportunity to be able to stand in front of your brothers and do something that, I mean, people are you're uncomfortable speaking in front of an audience. Like that's just how it is. And obviously, there's a way to, when you go to public speak, you're always going to be nervous. Mm-hmm. You're always going to be nervous when you public speak, no matter how many times you've done it. If you've never done it or if you've done it, 1,000 times, it doesn't matter. You're always going to be nervous speaking in front of people. But what I have learned is that it's about how you manage those nerves and how you're able to overcome that and speak in front of people. So why it was such a great opportunity is, most, or actually everybody in Psi, they're in an ensemble, right? We're so used to hiding behind an instrument, right?
Yeah.
We're so used to hiding behind an instrument, playing our tunes and calling it a day, right? But, obviously speaking is another art form, right? You're telling a story. And music is the same thing where you're telling a story. And it's different. It's a lot harder to, you'd think it's easier to like just explain it to people, explain what your story is, right? But a lot of us in Psi find it a lot easier to hide behind an instrument and just play what we're passionate about and tell our story that way. So I think it's a really good challenge for brothers to step away from their instrument just for 10 minutes and to just tell us your story.
If there's not if, but like in the future when we continue doing this thing, because I'm like 100% positive the student keynote thing is here to stay for the long term. What would you say to future active brothers who are kind of on the fence about maybe applying for this keynote?
Yeah, I want to remind everybody who is even thinking about applying that you are surrounded by the most positive group of people, right? We're in a brotherhood for a reason, right? These guys, and like, it's important to understand that your voice is heard and that you matter, right? That's what's most important. And in a setting like this, you're going to be surrounded by people who are just so incredibly supportive. And, whether that's the whole district, whether that's the nation, whether that's even your chapter, right? You're surrounded by the people who care about you most. So just remember that when you're applying, that you have a group of people backing you who want to see you succeed, who want to hear your story, right? This is a group of people who want to hear your story, and that's what's most important.
Yeah, absolutely true. Wonderful. Well, I really, really, really appreciate you sharing all that stuff. And this conversation is part of our month of brotherhood that we have going on, and kind of in the spirit of that, a thing that we're asking for on the national level is like stories of brotherhood moments, like moments where you truly felt the brotherhood of Kappa Kappa Psi. And I'm wondering if, beyond that first interaction of you belong here, is there another strong brotherhood moment that comes to your mind? It's like really solidified, like, yeah, I love this organization.
I would say honestly, again, I appreciate all of the little moments. Like going through the process of becoming a brother was really pivotal for me. Like understanding what our fraternity is, like what we do, and like realizing that the people who are surrounding me are super positive and super, these are people that are going to be here for me, and realizing that everybody's in my corner, right? This is a great group. So I would say just being surrounded by that brotherhood all the way from the very beginning of, again, somebody looking me in the eyes and telling me this is for you, all the way up until being initiated. And even now, like just realizing that I have a really positive group in my corner, no matter what I go and do, for the rest of my life. I always have that group of people that I can count on and rely on, when I always have a group of people that I can count on at all times.
Yeah, that's incredible. Great. Well, Nolan, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate you meeting me here separately so that we could talk and you could have another opportunity to share your story. This has been just an absolutely wonderful conversation.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's been
Of
awesome.
course. And then right there, I'm gonna let it all fade out and stuff. So
Sweet.
cool. All right. Thank you so much, Past JP, for taking care of that. A real one. But no, it's been just absolutely amazing talking with these student keynote speakers, and hearing them share their stories. I one just appreciate you for being here and seeing this video. Thank you so much, especially if you stuck around this entire time. I think we're just shooting for the longest VPSA chat record right now at a little over 2 hours. So maybe it'll be broken by me just yapping again in the future. We'll see. Um, but if you're interested in doing the student keynote stuff in the future, please be on the lookout for applications for that coming out next year. And I'm just manifesting it right now. So I'm going to go ahead and tell the Founder Circle people to just get on that so that way we can make that happen. Um, but yeah, it's been great, and I hope that there's some really good takeaways. Thank you so much to Haley and Audrey and Braxton and Jocelyn and Nolan for sacrificing some time to be here and just share more of your story and who you are. And active students, that's my job. Is I want to feature you and highlight you guys. So if there are things that come to your mind, please just shoot me an email and let's chat about it. My email is jpdavis@kkpsi.org. Yeah, this was great. This is